kind nonsense? Which kind of nonsense be this for Nigeria? Boko Haram, they attack people from the other side. This one, and they fight for local. I have no idea. That's terrible. I'm telling you, that's very terrible.
Please enter your PIN followed by pound. Please wait. This conference is being recorded.
I don't understand what's happening with all this, with life out there. I'm telling you. I don't get it. So were they supposed to deploy soldiers to go and stay there?
They deployed soldiers, but those soldiers are just in the town, roadblocks and all. Nobody's going inside the bush where these other people go and ambush the others.
I didn't know that those Mutong people were that dirty.
Some people, they joining forces with the Igbo people to fight the Iba.
With Ikom people?
Igbo.
Okay, Ibom, okay. Wow. Wow. That is not good news, believe me.
That was how many years ago they fought with Igbo. Now there's no Igbo village because they fought and burnt the whole thing down.
Which people burned them down?
The famous Muslim people fought the Igbo. There's no Igbo village now at all. For how many years?
What happened to the people that used to live there?
Well, they all ran to neighboring villages to live there. Nobody went back to that place. The whole place is like a forest now.
Wow.
Yeah. That's why they're trying to do it.
What? They completely ransacked the place. Wow.
There's nothing there.
I didn't know that those Mutong people were that dirty. Do they even say what's the cause of the fighting between Ediba and Osmotong?
Nobody even said anything from some great things. All I know is whenever they have like a burial or marriage and any Ediba person attends, they attack them.
Really?
They attack them. Yeah, that's what they've been doing lately.
And now they bring the full war to the Ediba village.
And now they attacked the Ediba last time. Well, I would say today is a new day over there now.
Right.
Yeah. Today the 26th. That's it. It happens in my son's birthday. They celebrate birthday with my son. I started hearing, I was chatting with my family when my brother started screaming. They are coming. They're there's war. We're thinking of what to do when we say, okay, there's war. They kill somebody. Look at they are bringing dead body. I say, oh my God.
Really?
Yeah. They have to go. He has to break into my dad's room to carry his double barrel. What kind of double barrel do? I mean,
yeah, when they carry real gun, they come. All these tough guns. Nothing. I have no idea. Okay, let's con. Yeah.
Only meet people and good ones. I don't know how they get those things.
Well, people will sell it to them. Whatever you want in Nigeria, you can buy. Nigeria is like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can buy. You need all those guns. They have it all over. So you can buy them. There are people. There are people who are. Yeah, there are people who are making profit by instigating people to go and kill themselves. You know that. So that they can sell them weapons. Some people live. That is some people's business. Is selling weapons. So let's see. Let me see whether all the love doctors are around tonight. Doris, I know you are there. Let me see. Rebecca, are you there? The two Marias. Gail, are you there?
Yeah, one is here. I'm here.
Okay, Maria, you are there. Okay. What about Rebecca? She's not there. Okay. Maria. Maria of South Sudan, where are you?
I'm here. I keep muting myself because
Yeah. Yeah. Have you been in contact with Nyaruk lately?
Yeah, I did sometime this morning.
Okay. How is her health? How is she doing? Is she doing all right?
Yeah, no, she needs deliverance.
I think so too. Does she know that? Have you told her that she needs deliverance?
Yeah, she says that she needs deliverance. She's open to it. But what kind of demon she's carrying that is so, I mean, I cannot give enemy a power. I don't want to say that, but what is running with her?
You tell me. You've been the one that is with her, so you know. You've been the one that has been around her, so you can feel and know what is going on. What do you think is going on with her? Because sometimes I don't get it. I don't want to say it on public television, so I don't understand. But later, privately, we will talk about this because I would like a three-way whereby, excuse me, whereby she is there for you, I, and her to talk about this thing because seriously, from what I've seen, she needs serious deliverance. You're right. She needs serious deliverance.
If people go around her, people get attacked, not just me.
Well, you might be surprised that she doesn't even. You might be surprised that she doesn't even know what's going on. You might be surprised that she doesn't even have a clue as to what's going on.
Okay, Rebecca?
Yes, Rebecca. Yes, we were waiting for you to come.
And besides that, went around her to think that another part. Me and Rebecca did talk to her about it, stopping everything, but she's not.
What is it she's doing? Well, we will talk privately and look at what is it she has to stop. What is it that she has to stop? Because there must be something that she has to stop so that these things will not be happening. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me continue to speak on the things that you can do that will make your love life last long, that will make your marriage last long, that will make your relationship last very long, last for a very long time. One of it is if there is a spirit of understanding between couples. If there is a spirit of understanding, then everything works fine. Because in a situation that there is no understanding, there is no openness, to understand the other person thoroughly. You see, one of the things that I have learned so far is that a story opens the doorway to solving problems. A story. Have you spent time to listen to the story of the person you want to marry, or the person you are dating, or the person you are marrying, for those who've already hurried into marriage? Have you spent time to listen to the story of the other person? Now let me throw a question in here. Why is listening to the other person's story a very important key element in either staying in a relationship or walking away from it before you get committed? Why is it very important for you to hear the other person's story? Why is story telling, somebody being truthfully explore their story and tell you? You see, for me, a story is a holy thing. It is like you are taking what is vulnerable about you and letting the other person knows about it. That story might be about death in a family, death of your parent. It might be about divorces. It might be about your pain. It might be about your hurt. It might be about failures and disappointment in life. It might be about things that you yourself did wrongly. It might be about things that you were ignorant of, but nowadays you've come to understand. People are afraid to tell their story for one reason. When they tell their story, they become vulnerable. You don't know what the other person is going to do with that story. So because of it, people do not want to tell their story. They keep their mouth shut. They don't want to become a victim. They don't want to go through another pain by telling a story. I have been a witness to this. I've suffered it many times. That people have told me that they want the truth from me. They want to hear the story, my own story. And then you think that you are talking to an adult, and you will not know that you are talking to a 50-year-old, a 40-something-year-old person who is still a baby emotionally and cannot handle certain things. So because of it, I always want to make sure that my story is not going to be trampled on the ground. That's why sometimes people ask me, can we hear a little bit about your past? I say no. The reason is because I do not trust those people. I do not trust what they are going to do with my story. I do not trust, because you see, everyone like an idol that has no flaws, that has no problem. Everyone wants an idol that they can depend on, especially for us who are shepherds. People forget that we are humans. But when you tell the story of your disappointment, your failures, your weaknesses, people walk away from you. You are no longer their idol. I have learned that the hard way. That is why sometimes I'm very, very hesitant to trust people with what I say, with my past or with my present. Because if you allow certain people into that sacred spot, story is a sacred thing, it's a holy thing, it's an energy thing, it's a power thing. When you allow people into your story, they can either use it to destroy you, or they can begin to find a way to help you. Now I want you to know this very, very frankly, that in many ways, many people who are dating, many people who are already in marriage, many people who are in romance, many people who are about to marry, do not tell each other the full story of their lives. Why? Because they are afraid that when they tell their story, the other person will walk away. And so I want to know, like I've already asked you that question tonight. How do you think that telling your story to the right person in your life will build a relationship? Let's begin. Let's hurry this because I have a lot of things to say tonight so that we can go. Okay, if there's nobody that want to talk about it, why is telling our story a fearful thing? Why is telling your story a fearful thing to a lot of people? Why is telling your story about your past a very fearful thing? I mean, even sometimes you tell the story of your achievements, somebody can still use that against you. So why is telling your story to your spouse a problem?
You can use it against you.
Explain.
For example, if you're going through pain and you tell your spouse, what happened to you in your childhood. When you guys are having a fight, she'll use it and throw it back in your face. Or you, for example, if you were rejected, you will say, oh, no wonder nobody loved you. You were rejected by your parents, so it makes you think I'm going to love you.
And do
so
you...
she's using your pain back at you.
Good. And do you think that a spouse that does that, do you think a spouse that does that actually do you think you deserve to have been married to a spouse like that?
No, but a lot of people do it out of desperation or lack of knowledge or infatuation. Most people marry not because of, they think they're in love, but it's maybe infatuation. They're not in love with the person. They're in love with the idea to be with that person.
That's true. They are in love with the idea to be with that person.
Right.
And they are not actually in love with the person. You know, there are some people whose desire is just to be in marriage. But such people should spend time to figure out deep things about the person they are about to be in marriage and understand the story of the person. Because the key to love, real solid romance, is the understanding and appreciation of the story of the other person. What the other person has passed through, where the other person is. And in a situation, let me tell you something. In a situation that somebody will use your story to rub on your face, that person deserves to be punished by the Almighty. In a situation that you've brought yourself to a place of humility, telling your story is a place of humility. In a situation that people or somebody now decide to use your story to deal with you, then that person in the first place is not a Christian. And that is where I begin my relationship, is how somebody deals with his or her story and with mine.
My kid, his stepmom, she threw a cut on me saying, you don't have a future, She tells me that because she have my kids. And for women, we think our future is our kids. Because men always can go and remarry and have different kids. So I record it. I have that message, the man of God. I'll let you listen another time. 2 of them. So, yeah. Not Christians can use your past on you.
Including Christians.
Yeah, only few Christians will have, what is called empathy or sympathy, whatever they call it. Will have understanding. Not very many people understand. Some people will just maybe use your mom's past from you, or they will use whatever bad thing happened to you and make you look like a useless person.
Right.
Yeah.
You're right. You see, what I'm talking about tonight is very, very important. This is where a marriage is made or a marriage is broken. It's right here. You hear what I'm saying? This is where a marriage is made. This is where a marriage is made or a marriage is broken. That is why it is better to tell the story before you proceed in the relationship, before you proceed in the marriage. Because whatever you keep from whatever story that is very, very important that you keep from the other person is gonna erupt somewhere along the line. I'll give you an example. A lady told the man and said, listen, before I met you, 20 years ago, she was sold into prostitution. Thank God she's AIDS-free. She is free from all sickness. And she put the certificate, she put the paperwork from the doctor right in front of him. And the man said, I love that you told me this story. Because along the way, you don't know how things are. You might think that this is a big world. But you don't know who you are going to run to, who will tell you something about the person you are with. And it becomes a problem. So, why is story? Why is telling our story? Please, listen to me. Listen to me tonight. I'm begging each of you. If you are doing something, if you are doing a chore in your house, either you leave the conference or you mute your phone. If you are doing a chore at your job, you are walking around in your job, you're not sitting in one place. Mute your phone or leave the conference, please. We want to enjoy this thing today. Thank you. Could somebody talk to the person who is doing this to just stop? Well, because we want to enjoy what we've come to do, please. Wow. That's terrible. That's really terrible. Okay, let's continue what we are doing. You see, not that the person didn't know. Please, if you are doing something, you are walking around, you are not sitting in one place to listen to this conversation. Could you either leave the conference or you press mute? Okay, let's continue. Why do you think some people hide their stories? Apart from Pum says you get hurt in the future, what are the other reasons? Some of you should give us an example.
It's not good to hide something because, the way long you go, they have somebody already know you, and one day they can surprise your husband with your story. It's better to tell the truth because the truth makes you free. I remember when I came first time here in Omaha, the people, they didn't know me, but they know my husband. The family, they tell different story about me. They didn't know me very well. And I keep quiet, I didn't talk. After I have my baby, and I call all the lady and I ask him, do you know where I met this man? They say, we don't know. I say, okay, it's better to be quiet because if you don't know something really true, you don't need to talk about it. Because they tell my husband, I have 2 twins in Egypt. And everybody in my husband's family, they know we have a twin in our house, but it's not my kid, it's my brother's kid.
you see. They change their story.
Right.
And they tell everybody they didn't know me. And the people know me, they're surprised. They say, well, they say you have a kid. Twin, where is your kid? I say, really, I don't have, we have a twin, but it's not mine, it's my brother's kid. But they love me so much, you know, like my kid, even I love them so much. And then when I sit down and myself, I say, well, this world is too big, you know. I don't know. About me, I know myself. If I don't know something true, I don't want to talk about it.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And then the long time, when you need to know somebody, some people it means they don't want to tell you the truth, but through friends, through family, because when you need to marry someone, you need to know about the family first.
Right.
It's not only you and him, you know?
Right.
So you're going to contact with the family. You have to know about brother and sister, because tomorrow your kids going to be important that family. So you need to know about my husband. He didn't know about me really. And I am the one I tell him about me. But me, I finish everything. I know about him, about her family, his mom, dad, brother, everybody. Because I be close to them, and I know everybody in the family, and I look like friend, you know?
Right.
Because when you need something, you need to do everything to get what you want before you get into it. Because when you enter it, no way out. So before you get in, you have to know. When you get in, you get in. There's no way out. So I know mom, brother, sister, everybody, and uncle. And they know me very well, but my husband, he didn't know nothing about me. And I keep quiet until I tell him about me. You know? Because the woman is the key of house. If you don't get everything there, you're going to get desperate because it's hard, you know, to get in the place and you have a kid and you need to get divorced and all this and stuff to be a single mom. It's not easy, you know. They have reason to be a single mom, but don't try to do it like that. You need to, like, to have this and I can get this. No. You need to know where are you going.
Right.
Because if you don't know that person, you finish. How you're gonna live with that person? Because all of you have to know and understand everything. You know?
Wow.
I come here.
That is powerful. That is really, really powerful. That is really, really powerful. You see, some of us think that marriage is just between the man and the woman. That is the notion that modern people have. Marriage is between you and the man and the woman, but it's also a large percent of that marriage is between you and that family. The reason is this. You see, every marriage will have its trial. Satan will come to try every marriage. People will come to try every marriage. Situations will come to try every marriage. And if you do not have honor for marriage, or you do not have honor for a man, or do not have honor for a woman, what will happen to you is this. You will go back either to your old habit, to your family, to your culture and tradition, or to your bloodline. Whether you are born again to the core, you see God face to face. If you do not believe in the sanctity of marriage, if you do not believe in that man or in that woman, if you do not believe in what they have to offer in life, in their greatness, their fame, their today, their past, their tomorrow, if you take this thing lightly, if you believe in outsiders more than you believe in your husband or in your wife, you're finished. Marriage is not just between you and the man or the woman.
It's between you and the children who are already born into that marriage. It's between you and the in-laws and everybody. That is why I always tell people, do not hurry marriage. Any marriage that is hurried is gonna die. I'm just being plain to you. Any marriage that is hasty will die. The reason is this: you have not taken time to bond with the person. You need to bond with the person. Yes, the Bible says people shouldn't commit fornication, people shouldn't commit adultery, we should not do this, we should not do that. It's true. But I want to assure you of something. When it comes to the reality of marriage, I apply both biblical principles and I apply the principle of life. I am not going to allow anybody to ruin the future for me. I have been there before, and I saw how much I was tortured. Bonding. When people meet, they should begin to bond. And one of the strongest ways to bond is to tell your story. Spend time to enjoy each other's past and to find out ways to solve the problems that the stories brings up. If it is not done properly, tomorrow, for example, somebody is telling you his story. Ask questions. Ask questions. Ask questions like, what happened here? If the man or the woman is a good person, they will not get angry at your questions. Okay, this happened. What is this about? I'm gonna give you an example. For example, somebody is telling you a story, her story or his story. He said, well, I got involved with the law because of some money problem. And you just say, okay. That is nonsense. Ask a question like, what does it mean that you got involved with the law? What does it mean that you got involved with the law on money problem? If the person refuses to answer that question, then you have no right to marry that person. You have no right to keep that person. That person must answer that question. What does it mean that you had some money problem and it led to legal problems? That person needs to explain what it means. That there was some money fraudulency and there was some what do you call it? There was a jail time. The person went to prison, or there was doing community service. There was like going to see a probation officer. The person should explain that. See, the reason why we should tell our story is this. If those people love us from their heart, they will accept us. But if you want somebody to accept you for who you are not is the story you do not want to tell. Who you are is the story you do not want to tell. And so somebody marries you or start dating you for what you do not want to tell them. Because in a lot of ways, especially in America, it's very difficult to go and dig people out. For you to even go to find out things about people, you are spending thousands of dollars. You're spending a lot of money just to go and start digging people out. And many a times, families will not tell you anything. They will just be looking at you and say, poor boy or poor woman coming into this family, you have no idea what you're coming into. But they won't say anything. They will just be looking at you with moping eyes, looking at you with some eyes that looks like the eyes of owls or bats, or looking at you like lions, looking at animals, the next one to catch to eat. Like, poor thing. Oh my goodness. I wish somebody tell him about who we are. But you know what? We will not. That's what he has chosen. And they dance around you, cook for you, feast you, and you go in, and then everything spoils. And you start asking, where was God? Let me tell you something very important tonight. 50% of marriage is a God thing. But let me put it this way for you to know it. In fact, let me put it this way. 20% of what you are looking for in marriage is God's involvement. 80%, 80, is you. It is you. 80% of marriage thing is you. That's why many of you who brag yourself about God has given you a husband or wife, you're fooling yourself. I would rather not want to tell somebody that God told me to tell you that you are my wife or you are my husband. I'm using that for a woman telling, oh, or somebody, a pastor of a church tell you, oh, I had a dream last night and I saw you and Maria in the altar. You were being blessed. It means both of you are being, and I mean, I don't believe in those kind of nonsense. Because 99.5% of every marriage that came through prophecy have failed. Every marriage that has come through prophecy, they've all failed. Why? Because those people believe that, okay, because God has chosen us, we cannot tell each other the truth about ourselves. We don't have any more responsibility. Okay, let me ask a question. I want you to look at your phone and see. If you are at your home, you are doing a job, you are doing chore, you're moving around, you're doing things. Could you be kind to Jesus to just press mute button? When you want to talk, you unmute it. When you finish talking, you mute it. Because are all of you hearing what I'm hearing? Is there a way that when you come to the meeting and you are at the same time doing chores in your home, how can we beg you to do this? Because this is where it starts. And I think there are some people who don't even understand what I'm saying. Is there somebody who can say it in American English that somebody will understand? Because I've discovered that there are some people who are coming to my meeting who don't even understand English. So I don't know how they are understanding what I'm saying. And then there are those who come who don't even know how to turn a computer on. There are those who just have a phone to talk. They don't even know what buttons to push. So I don't even know how to even begin with those kind of people. I don't know what to say. There are people who simply come to the meeting, call in, and then they are on their way traveling or doing other things, and they start distracting. They don't really understand these things, and I don't know how to break it down further. I don't know what to do. This is not a prayer thing. This is a common sense thing. So I don't know. Some are in their jobs. They cannot even turn their phone on mute. I don't even know what. I've been saying this for more than a year. I don't even know how to do it anymore. If I mute everybody, then I cannot interact with you guys. Because the joy of me coming to conference is to enjoy you guys and you guys to enjoy me. And we to enjoy each other and to pray together. That's the joy of this thing. So I don't get it anymore. I don't understand it. Should I stop doing conference calls and people should just call me one-on-one? Maybe. Maybe that's the best thing for me to start to do. Because this is irritating. This is irritating. This is something that I'm not enjoying. Should I just cancel conference meetings and just let everybody just, or should I mute people all the time? For example, I'll give you. Yes.
I think what you should do is when you come in, meet everybody, because yes, I mean, you make this announcement almost every day, and they still come on and make the same mistake. So when you come in, meet everybody. When you need us to talk, then you can unmute us.
Yeah, but even when I,
So we can stop this noise.
right, but even when I want, but even like this kind of conferences I'm having, they are interactive conferences. They are conferences for interaction. How do I, it means I have to cancel some of the conferences.
No, you don't have to.
Yeah, because when I want people to talk, the noise is still there. The person is still doing all this. How do we, and then some people, I mean, I don't enjoy it. It's very irritating. There are some times when I ask for people to pray together, you hear these big noises everywhere. It's not supposed to be so. I'm supposed to be hearing noises of people praying. So I don't get it.
I think there are people out there who don't even know where their mute button is, and they are too far to ask somebody for help.
Right.
I mean, most phones these days have mute. You can see it right there.
Okay, so oh my goodness. So the issue of telling your story is very, very important. For example, why do people find it difficult? You don't want to talk about how many women you've had sex with. Why? Because you will appear to be something else. That's how the other person will perceive you. You do not want to talk about how many men have slept with you. You don't want to talk about those stories. You do not want to talk about how many businesses you bankrupted that have gone bankrupt under your care. You do not want to talk about, what do we call it? You don't want to talk about jobs that you walked away from. All kind of stuff. See, these are all issues because, you know, if you talk about that you have left, out of anger, you've left 4, 5, 6, 7 jobs. People are, the other person is gonna judge you, judge you and say, this person is not a stable fellow. Now, the reason why you tell your story is this. If that person really needs you in his or her life, they will accept you for who you are. If they don't need you, then the thing ends there. There's no use entering into something that's gonna escalate in the future into a problematic thing. That is why the story needs to be told. The story needs to be told. But there are also, for example, people who are having problems with depression, mental problems, and so on. Tell your story. Let the other person know. Don't come later to tell us that you drank too much tea. That's why you began to curse everybody out. That's why you began to talk loud and beat people up. Let us know that you're taking some medication. So that your spouse will remind you that, listen, you need to take your medication today. Did you? You say no. But when you don't let somebody know, it becomes a problem. Some people want to hide this thing and hide it and hide it and hide it. I want you to tell the person you want to be with your story. Let the other person tell you your story. Then it is left for you not to say anything about the story. It is left for you to decide whether you want to be with the person or whether you want to walk away. Amicably, without saying it was the story. If you felt in your spirit that you do not need that person, then that is better than that you should go into a relationship in which there is no trust. That's the real issue here. If there is no trust because of the story, then it is better that you walked away. It is better. But some people, let me tell you some of the problem people have. There are people who still hold on to the old-fashioned Christianity of because I have done this with you, because I've done that with you, I do not think it is fair for us to leave each other. I want you guys to jump in this and help me out. Is that fair? That let's assume that because you and the person have done things together, go on a movie, eat together, travel, trying to bond and telling your stories to each other, and you decide that you reach somewhere where your spirit really feel that this is a good relationship. The love is there, but that it should not result in marriage. Not because you've seen somebody else, but because you just think, you feel deep inside you that this is not going to be something that is going to be long term. I think it's always good that this thing be known from the beginning. That's why it's good to tell your story. It's good to tell your story. So I want you guys to jump in. Is it fair for when you know the other person's secrets? Is it fair if that makes you to walk away? Is it fair for the story that we've been hearing of people say, because we've done this already, because we've done this already, we shouldn't stay together, we should stay together. And then they come together and the thing all bust. Please jump in and help me out here. Is that the right thing to do? I have seen a man told a woman, oh, we have had sex already together, you know this, I've spent so much, I bought you a new car and so on, and now this is the way you're feeling about the whole thing. I think it is not right, we must marry, the Lord has spoken about us, this, that. Do you think that is the right thing to do when the other person does not trust, doesn't feel like they should go ahead with the relationship? Do you think the other person should push the relationship? Whereas we all know when such a thing happens, it will always result in a disaster. Please help out here. Doris, the rest of you, Geneva, Rebecca, Maria, the two people should jump in and help.
Like in Africa or something. Yeah, but I ended up.
Okay.
I feel like it's life. Like he's not telling me the truth, like I'm the one talking, and he's not telling me nothing.
Okay. Okay. I see. Somebody else, please jump in. We'll soon be ending this session.
Because if you've been telling the person from the beginning that you enjoy their company, but that you don't really see each other being married, but that you consider them more family, that it should stay like that. They shouldn't even try to push it in any form or shape. They should understand no means no. How do you gotta say it? You gotta say it nice, mean, and jerk way. Some people get it.
But do you know that there are people who get really violent about this? Do you know that?
Yeah, I know they get violent.
There are people who get violent and revengeful and will come after you to attack you, to fight you, and all kind of stuff.
And I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. There are people who doesn't take it kindly. It's almost like you're dealing with, for example, there are women who take, and that is where I always ask people to be very clear about it. If sex means a lot to you, if it is what you protect more than anything, you see, each of us, we have areas of our life that we hold very high. If your sexuality is what you hold very high, then don't give in to it until after marriage. Some people, they hold finances very highly. Then don't give in to money until you are really sure. Then for some people, it is education. Then make sure that the person finish education before you go into it. For some people, it is politics. Make sure they change their party. For some people, it is maybe the person had an immigration problem. Tell them to solve it first. Or be ready to work with that person. For some people, it is they already have kids. If you want the person to, if you want to wait, if you want to tell the person to wait until the kids are grown and gone out of the nest, then you guys should do that. But there are people who will not accept that. They will cry and curse you out and fight you. It's almost like you're dealing with a child. So that's why I always tell somebody, always tell people, let it be a mutual consent, whatever both of you are going to do. Let there be nothing like, oh, it was an accident, you were being pushed into it, the person used voodoo. If the person is using voodoo on you, what are you using on the person? If the person is using voodoo on you, what are you using on the person? You should have something you are using on the person too. There should be nothing like, oh, he went and did charm on me. So you don't know the way to where he or she got the charm, or you do not know the way to Idika Imeri's ministry. You don't know the way to the Almighty God. You don't know the way to Jesus. That's why I get really annoyed with a lot of Christians. Oh, somebody is trying to put witchcraft on me. So what are you trying to put on the person too? Somebody is trying to do this on me. So what are you? Do you know, if I feel that somebody is attacking me, then for 3 nights I don't sleep. I sit down here in my living room and sit what I call sitting on the mat. I put a blanket on the floor and sit there for 3 days. If the person get out of it, then they can escape with their life, but they will never try it again. When I sit on the mat for anybody, you never try anything anymore in your lifetime. I'm being very serious. There's nothing like me telling you, oh, it was somebody. They used to do it in those days that I was just an ordinary Presbyterian pastor. And I play it safe. But nowadays, if I discovered, bam, I'm coming after that person. I'm very serious. Because that's the only way you're going to survive it on earth. They attack the enemy with the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. That's what the Bible says. You have weapons to fight with. So let's face it. It's very easy for people to wander into your life and persuade you and confuse you and lead you away, and then later in life they tell you they made a mistake. I don't want to hear about a mistake. Make sure you know what you are doing. If you don't know what you are doing, then don't do it. Oh, we've already had sex. Oh, we've already eaten together. Oh, we've already promised each other this. So what? Let's face reality, people of God. Oh, we've already kissed. Also, the kissing will make you pregnant, huh? And because we've already done all these things, I bought you a Mercedes Benz already. I did this. We must get married. because people will be laughing at you. See, it's pride and arrogance. Families and friends who knows about us, they will laugh at us. They will laugh at this. Okay. Now, when you guys get married and start going to court to go and have a divorce, where will those families be to laugh? They will still laugh at both of you anyway, even louder. Is that not true? They will say, look. Yeah, they will say, look at these two idiots who think they will make it. Look at them. They are already on their way to the court to get a divorce. Look at them. And then you are now telling everybody every bad thing that he did against you. Whereas from the word go, you will have walked away. There is somebody who fits you, whose story you're willing to work with, whose story you're willing to listen to get every bit of understanding about everything, so that you are aware of every single thing. Because the problem is, people are not patient to listen to each other's story. That's the problem. That's why a lot of people, they find it going to college a very big problem. Because college is going to make you, university is going to make you to sit and read. And many people don't have time to look at something and give it a good critique. They don't have time for that. They just want to rush to enjoy. No time to sit and invest. That is the problem of humanity today. So nobody takes time. I was at the wedding of a Caucasian girl to a Nigerian man. And I pitied that girl because that girl knew nothing about this guy. This guy was a pimp. This guy was a drug dealer. This guy was a scammer. He was scamming. He had many women around the world he was scamming for money. That he has promised love and marriages and everything around the world. And then the guy also has a university student that he's going to get married to in his own country. And he's marrying this girl, this Caucasian girl, to have his immigration paper, promising her that he has no other person in the world. And I was invited there. I didn't want to go. But because I'm a writer, I wanted something to fit in with something that I have written. I wanted to go and see how they do some of this stuff. And I went and I watched how this guy was so nice to her. Bought her heaven and earth. He was even serving everybody. He told the lady to sit back. He was the one serving. I watched the drama. On my way home, I turned my what do you call it? I turned my MP3 recorder and I began to talk into what I saw. It was crazy. The woman did not take time to know this guy. Doesn't know this guy's family. Doesn't know the village, that the city where this guy come from. Doesn't even know. In fact, she doesn't even know what is in that guy's passport. Nothing. If anything happened to that guy, that girl doesn't even know who to call. So let's face this. The story is very important. Where are you from? Who are you? Who are your brothers and your sisters? Can I reach out and talk to them? And how are you sure that the people you are talking to, that he gave you their numbers, are his parents? How are you sure? See, these are the issues here. How do you know that the person doesn't have children out there?